Okay, so we have a new episode of Legends and Leaders, and today it's great to have Young Lan here. You're somebody who's been behind so many incredible songs for years, just been able to produce and create at a high level. And you've helped shape culture, and especially the hip hop scene and music culture over there, which has been a really fast evolving culture, one of the fastest there is. So I'm excited to have you here talk a bit about what you're building as a business leader as well, and dive into your journey.
I appreciate it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. So kind of just going back to how your passion for this space began, like what made you interested in music, wanting to be involved in creating music, and just the business around it in general.
So I grew up going to church. All my family members, like my mom, my grandma, my uncles, aunts, everyone played in the church. My mom played piano in the church. So I feel like it was kind of like just in me to like go into music eventually as I got older. So I never actually took like piano classes or anything. Everything that I've done throughout my career was by ear. But,
Mhm.
I don't know, I just feel like God blessed me with the ability to, just know what sounds right and what fits right for each song and what sounds good for each artist and different things like that. So throughout my childhood, I used to, like, just try to DJ. I DJ, like, at Sweet 16 parties and proms and different things like that. My senior year of high school, I was in a rap group, so it was me and another guy, and I was making all the beats for it. So it's just always been in my life, music. So after high school, I kind of fell back from the rapping, and I just kind of pursued the production aspect. And I would take trips to Atlanta, just working with different people like Rich Homie Quan and Roscoe Dash, different people that were kind of buzzing at the time in hip hop. So this was around probably 2010, I'd say. And
Mhm.
so yeah, I just stayed at it, and luckily it paid off over time. That was yeah.
Yeah. When you kind of told people you wanted to, make music and make it at a high level, like what was the response from friends, from family members around you? Like, did they think that that was going to be possible?
My mom always believed in me for sure.
Mm.
I remember like having CDs with my music and stuff, and giving it to certain family members, and they wouldn't really listen to it and stuff. So I always, I could tell that certain people didn't believe or see the vision, but my mom always did. And just having that one person in your corner, like as your support system, it just like it meant everything to me. Honestly, like she invested in me. She was the first person that invested in me. Bought like MPC, drum machine, Motif keyboard. Just spent a lot of money and like for a kid, still in high school. So just the fact that she believed in me so much, it just really gave me that fire to just like keep pursuing my dreams.
Mhm. That's cool. It's good to have people in your corner for sure.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say was your kind of first big break from when it comes to like a production standpoint?
So in there's two I like to say. Like when I was, I say, a freshman in community college, I had a song with Roscoe Dash, who was huge at the time, and he shot a video to it. It was a song called "Put It On You." It didn't blow up or anything, but um, just having that type of placement coming from where I'm from is unheard
Yeah.
of. So it kind of just gave me like the the feeling just keep going and keep pursuing my dreams. But then the real placement that kind of like took things to the next level was in 2015. I started producing for a guy named Fetty Wap, and
Okay.
I had three on his first album, and RGF Island was the single from the album that I did, and I think that's double platinum now.
Yeah. That was an incredible album for him.
Huge. He was on top of the world in 2015, and like the way that it all kind of came about was just a crazy story, honestly.
Yeah. Well, how did you get involved with him over there?
So my barber in Virginia, he was from New Jersey. He was from Passaic, New Jersey, and Fetty Wap's from Patterson.
Mm.
And so I guess my barber had found out about him through some friends or something. So one day I'm getting a haircut, and he's like, "Hey, check out this guy. He has a song that's blowing up in New Jersey," and it was the Trap Queen video. And at
Yeah.
that time, it probably had a couple thousand views, nothing crazy at all. And so I didn't really think too much of it. But a few weeks later, I'm on YouTube and I'm watching like Hot 97, which is like the biggest hip hop radio station in the country. Well, at that time it was. And Fetty Wap was on there doing the interview. And I was like, wow, this is the guy that my barber mentioned to me. So I was like, maybe it's meant for me to send him some beats or something. So I contacted him through Twitter, through DM, asked for his beat email, sent him some beats, and the first song we did was RGF Island. After that, we just kept working and probably did like 30 songs that year.
How big was he on socials at that time?
He was easy to reach through DM, so it wasn't. Yeah, it definitely wasn't big. He probably at that point he probably maybe 50,000 at the most,
Yeah.
50,000 followers or something.
What was that process like, just creatively? Making a song with him.
Yeah, so we actually didn't link in the studio probably until maybe 6 months after we started working. Most of the stuff was just me texting him beats or emailing him beats. I would start something at my apartment at the time, just like with some cheap headphones and like a little cheap PC, gaming PC, and I would just email it to him, and most of the time he would send me something back within a day or two.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So those you mentioned, so those were like the two big breaks, and then how did that set the trajectory after?
So I after the Fetty Wap album in 2015, I got signed. I want to say in October. So the album came out in September, and I got signed to Warner Chappell in October.
Mhm.
And after that, I was like, man, like I got to do something else because at that point I was working front desk at a hotel, and like I'm seeing rappers and artists that I'm working with come in. I'm checking them in. I'm not letting them know who I am and stuff. And I'm like, oh gosh, like I should not be here. But once the album was so successful, and I got my advance from Warner Chappell, I was like, man, I got to get out of here. So April of 2016, I ended up moving to Atlanta, and after that, I just started working with a little bit of everybody, honestly.
Do you think Atlanta today is still such an important place to be to make music in the hip hop scene?
I feel like it slowed down a lot. After the pandemic, I feel like it's definitely not the hub that it once was. I feel like a lot of people are either in like Miami or LA or Nashville. Atlanta is definitely not it doesn't have the same energy that it did
Yeah.
prior to COVID.
Uh-huh. Were you ever like early on in your career, like thinking about making country music?
So I grew up listening to country music. Like I remember elementary school. I grew up listening to everything, honestly, from like Nirvana to Weezer to Limp Bizkit, like everything. So I
Yeah.
remember at elementary school, my mom used to play a song by Brooks and Dunn, and I used to listen to it like every day before school. So like I've always kind of liked country music, and I'm really from the country, technically in Virginia. It's called Cumberland, Virginia, really small town.
Mm.
No stoplights, no Walmart, no McDonald's, just cows, chickens, and yeah, like corner stores and things like that, like country stores. So
Yeah. So
mm,
you did have that kind of origin that's been pretty
yeah,
helpful today for what you're doing.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's very country where I'm from for sure.
Yeah. So, after you kind of did that, um, I mean, were you able to really support yourself on your own just after the Fetty Wap stuff, or did it take a little bit more time for
No,
me?
yeah, that definitely gave me the foundation and the financial stability to kind of, take a break from working and just try to fully focus on the music and the production. It by no means it was like a life-changing amount of money or anything like that. It was just like a stepping stone, and it gave me the foundation to kind of just move away from Virginia and try to like branch out and work with more artists.
Yeah. How were you getting in with those artists? Was it the same approach you took with Fetty, you just cold DM?
Yeah, a lot of times I would just DM people, and if people respond, I would say, "Hey, let's get in a session, or let me email you some beats, text you some beats." And luckily, Fetty Wap was so huge at that point; it was pretty easy. Once like they knew that I did the records for Fetty Wap, it was pretty easy to get in rooms with people.
That's how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
Do one well, everybody wants you.
It takes one. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you think like about your production style at that point and like evolving it in any way, or like how have you adapted in general your production style? Because like hip hop back then, hip hop today, country today, versus back then, it's very different.
Yeah. I've always been big on live instrumentation. So around 2016, 2017, I started managing and signing loop makers and guitarists and different people. So it's always been in me to kind of just find the next sound and evolve my sound, but also stay true to like what I genuinely like and what my original sound is. So it's kind of a thin line between like staying true to myself and like my original sound, but also being willing to try new things as well.
Mhm. And when did you kind of make it a focus to be in country music, producing country music?
So my producer James Maddox, who I signed when he was, I want to say 16 years old, he's from France. He started working with Charlie Handsome, I'd say about 3 years ago. And so probably more than that, honestly, probably 4 years ago they started working. And so James told me that he had a two records on Morgan Wallen's album coming out that he had collaborated with Charlie Handsome on. And so at this point, honestly speaking, I didn't know how big Morgan Wallen was. I didn't know he was that huge. I had definitely heard of him, but I didn't know he was that huge. And so when the album came out and I saw the first week sales and I just saw like how many people were gravitating towards country at this point in time, I was like, yeah, we need to like make that shift now before everybody just starts, you
Mhm.
know, trying to work on country.
And did it go well, the shift?
For sure, yeah, it's definitely been great. James has been working with like Jelly Roll and Post Malone, and I'm working with a whole bunch of people from Billy Ray Cyrus to Breland to Drew Green. A whole honestly a whole lot of people. We got two on Neo's country album that's coming out. Just working with a little bit of everybody. Honestly, it's definitely been a warm embrace from everybody in in the country genre, and we love
Yeah.
it. Honestly,
So everybody wants to do country now, basically.
I think a lot of people do, but I think a lot of people don't really have an ear for country, and they're not necessarily as versatile as I say my team is. We've when I found my guys, I just made sure to find guys that were extremely versatile and could work on pretty much any
Yeah.
genre. Yeah, and like I said, I grew up listening to everything, so it's never been a thing where I just wanted to be exclusively a hip hop producer.
Mm. So what's the structure like now if someone comes to you, like an artist wants to make a song? Is it usually you present something to them, a direction, and they kind of fine tune it with you together? Like, what does that look like internally, even just for you to make a new song with somebody?
Like the creative process.
Yeah.
Um, Usually like people will reach out or my managers will present me with somebody and either I'll listen to their previous catalog and things that they've already released, and I'll ask my guys to send me some starters or some loops that kind of fit the sound, and I'll go through and I'll kind of like pick which ones sound the best for this person or for this session. Then I'll just start out with that in the session. I'll start out with the loops, and then the artist will pick something. I add production around it. Usually, we'll sit down, we'll write. If it's a country session, we'll sit down and write the song together. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, you find you have to be pretty involved at this point?
Yeah, definitely. Country is it's much more collaborative than like hip hop and R&B and
Mhm.
different things like that because you're actually sitting in the room with, three other writers and the artists usually,
Yeah.
and everybody is chiming in on lines and melodies and different ideas in regards to the song. So I love how collaborative country is for sure. So it's definitely a different process for me than I'm used to.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be just different in general than hip hop. I mean, you kind of usually have like a preset beat, then you get in the room and you just lay vocals on it. I think most of the time, right? This year
Yeah,
it's a little different.
exactly. Usually the guys will just go in the booth and kind of just do their own thing, freestyle or, just
Yeah.
say whatever's on the top of their mind. It's not really much structure or honestly like a whole lot of thought on the concept of the song.
Hmm.
But country, it's like they're really taking their time. They're spending hours like coming up with the right idea and the right lines. And yeah, it's a lot of thought being put into the songs for sure.
How do you balance this, like between being somebody who's creative, but also you're running a company, you're building a business? Has that been kind of difficult, or is it just pretty natural for you to kind of switch in between those roles?
It's pretty natural, honestly. Both of my parents were entrepreneurs, so I always grew up, just seeing how
Okay.
a
Yeah.
business is ran or how you should, treat your employees or different things. Like even though I don't consider my guys employees, but yeah, I just grew up with that business mindset, honestly. And the way that I kind of maneuver as a entrepreneur, I just treat people honestly how I always wanted to be treated in the industry. So with my guys. I make sure I collaborate with them. If there's a big session, they're in town, I'm going to bring them into the session so I can introduce them. I just try to make sure that they get the right looks that I feel that they deserve. For sure.
Hmm. That's good. So you're looking out for a lot of these guys, and I mean, are you always kind of do you always have like an eye out for talent, like just looking for new people to bring in? Like, how do you
Always,
find those people?
always. So, like, is there feedback? By any chance, do you hear something?
No.
Okay, got it. So, honestly, a lot of times it's just through Instagram. Like most of the people that I've discovered or signed, had DM'd me and sent me loops. So it's usually through Instagram. And then new talent as far as artists, I'm always like scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, and I might hear somebody and I'm like, oh wow, this sounds different. This sounds amazing. I need to work with this person. So I'll DM them instantly. And like I still do that to this day. I've been doing it my whole career and it's definitely paid off. It's just all about like finding the next thing ahead of everyone else.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how powerful social media is. I mean, you keep talking about how influential it's been in your career, and just because you reached out, not everyone reaches out to people. They don't take that shot.
Exactly. I think a lot of people, I don't know if it's ego or what, or they're afraid that somebody's not going to respond, but you miss out on all the shots that you don't take. And if you genuinely like something and you want to work with that person, it definitely doesn't hurt to reach out.
Yeah, have nothing to lose.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what's your focus mostly right now?
Um, Honestly, just finding new talent for real. I started a production group called Milan Production Group MPG. Looking for new talent, new artists, live instrumentalists, looking for engineers, writers, pretty much everybody, producers, loop makers, everything. So really just trying to find a really strong roster that I can bring on and just help them get to the next level.
Yeah, and that's going well.
It's going really good for sure. Yeah, I started not too long ago, probably 3 months ago. So far I've signed Noah Brown. He's from Missouri. I met him when I first started coming out to Nashville. He has a studio called Sounds, and I started doing sessions there, and I just saw his workflow and his talent as far as a producer and engineer and a writer. And we along with 1916, we signed him.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of on a little bit of a different topic. Like, I mean, you've been in music for quite some time. You've seen the change from buying albums, buying individual songs, then to streaming in general. Like, I mean, how do you think, just from like somebody who makes music, like, how do you view the streaming in general, the way that it works, the way that it compensates people, and like, do you see kind of like how do you see the industry evolving around that?
I think it's great how streaming is evolving. I do wish that there was a little bit, I guess, of a better strategy when it comes to being paid from the streams because it's just an excessive amount of streams that it takes to just make a few dollars, and I just wish that they would cut down on that a little bit. But I do love how convenient it is to just be able to like pull out your phone or open your
Yeah,
laptop and you can just listen to the next artist or somebody that you found on Instagram, listen to their catalog. So I love it honestly, and I think it's only going to get better. And I do think they will make it so that the streams just equate a little bit better to album sales
yeah.
eventually. Yeah.
So is most of the earnings, like, is that in the industry? Like, where are you seeing them come from? Is it from concerts? Is it from merch? Or is it? I mean, like, you're trying to make music, make money off music. Is it from licensing the music itself?
Yeah, a lot of it is licensing for sure. For artists, it's definitely a lot of their money is coming from shows and merch and things like that. But for the producer, it's definitely every time it's played on the radio or streamed or sync placements when you get on commercials or movies, things like that. They definitely add up, and it's also a great check when people perform at large, award shows or venues like concerts and things like that.
Yeah.
Those things definitely add up a lot. So
Mm.
it's a couple ways that you can get paid
Yeah.
pretty good for sure.
Yeah. That's interesting to hear the different avenues. Um, I mean, you're seeing also like AI now and the impacts of AI on music specifically. Like, do you think it's going to be helpful to you? Do you think it's going to be helpful in production in general?
Um, I think it is helpful in regards to like if you need to add some type of instrumentation last minute,
Hmm.
but in regards to like AI is getting so advanced that it's like fully producing songs and like you can
Yeah,
master and mix and
it's wild.
yeah, it's getting it's getting scary, honestly. So gosh, I don't know. I'm it's getting to the point almost where I'm like, will it affect people's jobs? You know, like will it affect like producers or engineers or artists even? Because I'm seeing like AI artists are getting signed now and different things. So I'm trying to see like where will it like where will I guess humans have the upper hand or the advantage over AI making music. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like where does it draw the line? I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild to just see it evolve. But I mean, I
Yeah.
hope it's just a tool to help artists out and assist them.
Yeah, yeah, it's like I said, it's definitely getting scary for
Yeah.
sure.
Just like kind of thinking about like your process to make music, and I mean you've had an incredible amount of success on the Billboard charts in general. I mean that's kind of been an industry metric. um when you look at that, like the songs that have charted well, like do you kind of think there is some sort of, I mean, like recipe or just kind of a couple of things you generally do well that lead to that, or is it just every one of them, is kind of case by case plus some luck, hard work and luck? Like do you think there is some sort of foundation that leads to a track to become a number one on a Billboard chart?
Um, I don't think it's luck. I just think it's more so about having that right song that people are looking for at the right moment, honestly.
Mm,
And it also has a lot to do with your label really pushing that song and putting marketing behind it, getting it on the right playlists and getting it to the right radio people and things like that. But it's more so just making really good music, quality music, and getting it out to the masses as opposed to it being luck, I think.
yeah.
It
No,
it
I mean
it
luck in
definitely
addition to hard work. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a lot of hard work
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. But, yeah, it's more so about the budget and how much you put behind the record and
Mhm.
how much your label puts behind the record
Yeah.
and how good of a song it is, honestly.
Uh-huh. I mean, it needs to be like generally pretty substantial. Like how much the label's getting behind it for it to get that high.
Yeah, I would think so, yeah. I would think so. I mean, I've seen, like, Instagram posts and things like that where people saying, like, it takes, like, 250,000 for a song to blow up or something, but I don't really know too much about, the marketing aspect of music, but I'm sure it costs a substantial amount of money,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So just the last question I have, like if you had to look at the next 5 to 10 years, and what you're building now, and you as a somebody who's an entrepreneur, a business leader, like where do you see yourself going? What do you think will happen during that time?
I think, we're really me and my guys, we're really at the point where we really want to just develop artists from the ground up. So I think we'll have, a couple huge artists that we find and develop and just really take MPG to the next level where it's like a household name, honestly. I love like finding new talent and being an executive. And I think things will just only get bigger and better. I don't see myself stopping music anytime soon. So yeah, just finding new talent, developing new talent. That's really ultimately the goal.
That's awesome. Well, appreciate you taking the time and doing this. I think it's amazing what you've accomplished through, some hustle and cold outreach and trying to make the best music you can. And now you've got other people you're mentoring, you're bringing up. So it's great that you're giving back like that. And I'm excited to see MPG grow and all that you're building continue to succeed. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.